Description. It is incogni.com/JohnnyHarris. Click the link. It helps support the channel.
Go fucking debate. Go debate the ethics of CP and how age of consent should be lowered. And, you know, actually it's ephebophilia, not pedophilia. Come on.
Johnny.
Go back to your fucking community.
Harris, and you will get 60% off the yearly plan of Incogni. Use that code so they know it came from this ad read. That is very helpful to me. So yeah, you can try it out, get a big discount, and see if Incogni helps protect your privacy while also reducing the amount of junk mail and robocalls that you get. Thank you, Incogni, for sponsoring today's video. With that, let's dive back into Yemen. By 2004, the Houthis have morphed into a full-blown rebellion, fighting against Yemen's government from their northern strongholds. They know this land well, and they have local support, allowing them to fight a guerrilla campaign against the government forces, blending in with civilians, hiding in mountains and caves, and allowing them to resist the much better equipped Yemeni army. As the conflict turns more violent, more tribes in the region would feel that the military is being overly brutal, leading them to join the Houthis. And it's at this time that the conflict goes international. The Houthis say that Saudi Arabia is letting the government of Yemen position troops right across this border. So they invade into Saudi Arabia, killing Saudi soldiers and taking hostages. This pulls Saudi Arabia into the conflict as they respond with airstrikes and troops and push the Houthis.
That just pulled them in, dude. It was crazy. It was crazy. They definitely weren't doing the thing that they were correct on. Again. Come on, dude. Israel style. Yeah, Israel style. They were just defending themselves.
He's out of their territory, punishing them for this invasion. Now, over here, Iran is watching this war, and they see an opportunity. The Houthis are now fighting directly against their biggest rival, Saudi Arabia. So they start secretly sending weapons to the Houthis. At least that's what Saudi Arabia claims, saying that they intercepted an Iranian ship filled with weapons and military trainers on their way to the Houthis. It looks like Iran is directly supporting the Houthis now, though how much support they provide behind the scenes will always be intentionally unclear. As the conflict between the Houthis and the government continues in the north, Saudi Arabia has been fighting their own war on terror against a branch of Al-Qaeda operating in Saudi Arabia. Seeing that their days are numbered, this branch of Al-Qaeda flees south over the border into Yemen, where they merge their forces with the Yemen branch of Al-Qaeda. They create Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, or AQAP, one of the most dangerous and well-funded versions of the group to ever exist. The group's goal is to create a strict Islamic state across the whole region, while violently waging holy war against foreigners in Muslim lands. This puts them at odds with both the Yemen.
The Saudis hate Al-Qaeda as much as Israel hates al-Nusra, okay?
Yemeni government and the Houthis. The conflict is getting more complicated. Around 2011, the region starts to change in big ways. In one country after another, there's an outpouring of public anger on the streets, demanding change from their government, removing old leaders. This is called the Arab Spring. It's upheaval that spirals the region into hope and chaos. Iran and Saudi Arabia see this as an opportunity to strategically choose sides in all of these countries in hopes that when the dust settles, they will come out with a stronger hand of allies in the region. And one of their main focuses is Yemen, a country that is also rising up, calling for President Saleh to step down. The corrupt dictator of Yemen is running out of time, which is something the Houthis have been fighting for years. But Saleh refuses to step down, adding fuel to the uprising. Saudi Arabia sees this situation at their southern border and decides to step in with the help of the UN, convincing Saleh to transfer power to his vice president in exchange for immunity from prosecution. On his way out, Saleh takes the billions of dollars that he corruptly amassed during his time in office, and he also retains the loyalty of key parts of the military, fighters that are only loyal to him. But the people aren't satisfied with this new Saudi-backed president. the government remains weak and unorganized. Meanwhile, the Houthis are taking advantage of this infighting and only getting stronger, taking more and more territory from the government, adding to their forces and receiving more support from their backer Iran, who is supplying them with more training, missiles, drones, and other advanced weapons. They used these weapons in the fall of 2014 to march into southern Yemen, taking over large swaths of territory. Now that the Houthis have momentum, the former president...
That's crazy, and it wasn't even us this time, bro. Fuck you mean it wasn't even us? Bro, he's literally talking about direct Saudi involvement. Of course it was us. What do you think Saudi Arabia is? Who is Saudi Arabia? What kind of weapons do you think they're manufacturing in Saudi Arabia? What kind of targeting systems does the domestic Saudi weapons manufacturing industry have, you think? No, that's us, man. We did that.
Saleh joins them in an alliance of convenience. In fact, Saleh's forces are critical in helping the Houthis take the capital city of Sana'a. Saleh is now working with his former enemy.
The reason why he now mentions Saleh is corrupt is because of this, by the way. A chatter was like, oh, now he mentions that President Saleh is corrupt. It's because of this. He was trying to get you to understand. He's bad now. He didn't mention it when the Houthis were resisting against him. He only mentioned it when he's aligned with the Houthis for a brief moment.
Against his own vice president, the man he had to give power to when he stepped down. President Hadi and his government flee south as the Houthis take over, but the Houthis are right behind them. So Hadi has to flee to Saudi Arabia, trying to govern Yemen from there. But the Houthis just keep gaining momentum. By the middle of 2015, they now control the capital city completely, where they create their own government and take control of the government's military weapons, helping them expand even further into the south. Now that the Houthis are in power, they run an oppressive regime that silences free speech, crushes dissent through arrest and torture, and recruits children.
I don't get it. It seems like they're doing free speech.
To the south. Now that the Houthis are in power, they run an oppressive regime that silences free speech, crushes dissent through arrest.
That's free speech, brother. What are you talking about? Being able to burn the American flag is American style free speech too. Yeah. Under Saleh, Yemen was a thriving liberal democracy, but he is also partially corrupt and brutal. I will only mention that he's corrupt when I'm about to say that he aligned with the Houthis for a brief moment. Also, the shining beacon of liberal democracy that Yemen was changed dramatically when the Houthis came into power, and not that they basically maintained the same business as usual in the midst of a fucking civil war. Kind of odd that these guys are random people, and yet they are able to galvanize massive chunks of the population. I don't know how. Agree with them or not. It's just odd that he keeps saying that this is a fucking militia group backed by Iran, nothing to do with Yemen, kind of, but also simultaneously very popular, seemingly.
And torture, and recruits children as soldiers, all while imposing strict religious laws that undermine women's rights. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia is getting nervous. Their southern neighbor is now controlled by a group that is funded by their biggest enemy. So,
I mean, they strip women of individual freedom and rights? Bro, what are you talking about? Listen to me. Number one, this is the same exact fucking Saudi propaganda that's hilarious. Yes, brother. Both in Saudi Arabia and in Yemen, women's civil liberties wasn't great. Okay? Before and after the Houthis. What are you talking about? This does not mean it's good. But remember how you only fucking bring that up for one side of the argument? When the other side is the genocidal force that has the exact same domestic policies, worse domestic policies. Yeah, when you say it like that, you make it seem like they have fucking pride rallies before the Houthis came, you know? Saudi girls in my college course in 2014 had never driven a car because it's illegal. Yeah, they also probably came to the United States of America with a male member of the family because they are because they can't travel on their own usually to the United States of America. I mean, it's cool that the government literally pays for your male family member as well for you to go to school in America, but like also not great that, you know, that's a thing. That law was removed. Oh, it is? Back when I went to college, it wasn't. It was definitely still in place. To be fair, Qatari dancer, I went to college in 2009. I am old. It might have been a part of MBS's charm offensive where he did some reformation. Not a lot. Some. Like saying women are allowed to fucking drive cars and shit. Not sure what your point is. Saudis and Houthis are both shit for the people. Brother, you are in the United motherfucking States of America. What the fuck are you talking about? Our involvement in both of these countries have been objectively bad for both of these fucking countries. On the Saudi front, our maintenance of the monarchy and its fucking grip on power has created an environment where no real change will ever occur. On the Yemen front, we funded and facilitated the same exact type of fucking regressive thinkers, I guess, if you want to think about their fucking domestic policy, in funding and facilitating a genocidal campaign in Yemen. When we talk about these issues, people love bringing up like the domestic affairs of Yemen to be like, to just never really focus on what we're actually saying. What we're actually saying in this conversation is like, well, we have to intervene because Yemen is brutal and repressive in its regime. And it's like, dude, what are you saying? The people interfering are also brutal and oppressive in the exact same fucking way. And they're doing a genocide on top of that. Yes, you got the fascism from the West and Islamism from Iran. Yes, one must ask themselves how Islamism came to Iran to begin with in the degree that it came to Iran. What kind of foreign involvement, I wonder, happened in Iran that led to the Iranian Revolution? This is Americans refusing to learn the lessons from past involvement and then literally using the negative consequences of past involvement and intervention to be like, we have to do more of that. It is the most American idea, okay, to go, you know what the problem is? We have a lot of gun violence in this country, okay? Mass shootings are happening daily, right? We also have more guns in circulation than we have people in this country. What's the solution to this problem? More guns. Arm the teachers. Hello? It's the most American concept. Americans love looking at a problem that they fucking caused and then being like, you know what? We'll fix this problem. More of the same problem. It's so dumb. I don't know. I don't know what else to say beyond it. Yeah, traffic in LA, more lanes. But without local support, then the revolution could not have been taken over. Wait, what? Brother, I don't think you understand what the words that are coming out of my mouth. The local support for Islamist movements, fundamentalist movements, literally gain more momentum when they are launched against Western imperialism. It goes back to my argument. Okay? That is how people go, you know what? I'm not the biggest fan of the fucking fundies, but it turns out they're not wrong. It turns out maybe they're right about the fucking Shah. That's it. It is kind of funny calling the Iranian government fundies, because it is. They are fundamentalists, but it's just funny to call anything but Christian fundamentalists fundies.
They recruit the support of countries around the region and invade Yemen with the goal of removing the Houthis from
Is permission from a male guardian? They don't have to join them on the trip? Not better just saying, oh.
power. The war is led by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Saudi Arabia's up-and-coming leader and defense minister. He starts with a widespread bombing campaign and a naval blockade that prevents shipping in and out of the country, with the goal of trying to cut off support coming in from Iran. The Crown Prince turns to the United States in need of more weapons for this war. While the US leaders are reluctant to get involved in another Middle East conflict, they also want to maintain a good relationship with Saudi Arabia, who is their major security and energy partner in the region. They also have an interest in weakening al-Qaeda's growing presence in Yemen. So in addition to supporting this war with logistics and intelligence, President Obama approves billions of dollars of weapons, planes, tanks, and even weapons banned by most of the world for how dangerous they are for civilians, like cluster munitions.
Reluctantly.
This quickly turns Saudi Arabia into the largest importer of American weapons for the next...
Guys, you don't understand. Obama did it reluctantly. Obama reluctantly did a genocide in Yemen. Reluctantly. Just like Joe Biden is reluctantly doing a genocide in Gaza. Reluctantly. By the way, once again, American foreign policy is bipartisan, as I've said time and time again, because reluctantly, Donald Trump also funded and facilitated and continued the genocide in Yemen. This is the genocide I was talking about, by the way. That chatter was like, genocide. Reluctantly. Hey, good thing this wasn't us, though. Yeah, exactly.
4 years. So it's 2015, and Yemen is in a full-blown war between the Houthis and Saudi Arabia and their coalition. This is when
Trump definitely didn't do so reluctantly. Guys, there is no difference between Obama aesthetically claiming that he's doing it reluctantly while still doing it versus Trump saying, no, who's going to buy the weapons? Are you going to buy $10 billion worth of weapons? Guess what, dude? They both have the same exact energy on the issue. One is just pussyfooting around it. That's why at the time I literally openly, I wouldn't say praise, but openly fucking said, hey, at least he's honest. He's a giant piece of shit, a genocidal warmonger, but he's fucking honest. Go back and find it. Go back and find my coverage after Jamal Khashoggi was chopped in a Istanbul Saudi embassy. There's no difference between aesthetically posturing as though you are against the genocide and the genocidal ambitions versus openly stating why you're doing it because they're buying $10 billion worth of weapons. The Saudi consulate in Istanbul.
Al-Qaeda, who's not on either side, takes advantage of this chaos and makes a land grab in the middle of Yemen. They take major cities and clash with government forces. Also taking advantage of the instability is the terrorist group ISIS, who come to Yemen and fight the Houthis and Al-Qaeda at the same time, though their attacks are scattered and they don't control significant territory. The US then gets more involved by launching airstrikes at Al-Qaeda and ISIS targets to stop them from gaining any more territory. They try to kill their leadership, But the US has to do this carefully because they don't want to engage the Houthis. Their fight is with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. In May of 2015, the Houthis...
That's so strange that the Saudi government was bombing the Houthis and fighting against the Houthis. And it's so weird that so was ISIS and Al-Qaeda. What? What's that about? In the same time frame, al-Nusra, which is like the Syrian version, was also getting help from the Israeli government. That's very strange. How peculiar. I just don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I don't know what it's about. Link to your comment on him being honest.
Well, against everybody, including Russia. And
it's so funny. He's just like the conversation is so easy to have when a politician is honest about their dishonesty, right? And that was the brilliant part about Donald Trump. He's just straight up saying it. He's like, what are you, stupid? Do you not understand? Like, no, we're selling the weapons, dumbass, because they give us money for those weapons, dumbass. And low gas prices. What do you want to fucking increase gas prices and also on top of that fucking allow someone else to sell the weapons to Saudi Arabia? No, we're going to fucking sell it, stupid. Like, he's like shocked that members of the media who clearly know this, by the way, like there's no way people are that stupid that they don't fucking recognize that like this is the real reason why this is the real reason why like liberals are also not fucking punishing MBS. That's it. That's the reason. And he's saying it. And again, he's being honest about it. And Joe Biden is being dishonest about it. That's the reality. Sorry. That doesn't mean he is.
Damn, bro. Damn, that's crazy. Who's this guy? Benefit of foresight, dude? What the fuck? He's saying that in 2021, March 3rd, 2021. How's this guy cooking so hard? That's a whole ass 3 years ago. Fuck's that about? How'd that happen? Huh. That's weird. I'm saying Joe Biden's being dishonest about it. How did I know? How did I know? What? How did I predict how Joe Biden would react against Yemen later down the line? How?
A good person. He is a fucking monster. The things he's saying are monstrous. But that's precisely why I get frustrated with the Joe Biden administration, because if you think that this is monstrous, then you have to recognize that what Joe Biden is doing is also monstrous.
And I'm going to keep it that way. And I'm not going to tell a country that's spending hundreds of billions of dollars and has helped me do one thing very importantly, keep oil prices down so that they're not going to $100 and $150 a barrel. Right now, we have oil prices in great shape.
Chatters back then also demanding gaming. Chatters back then also demanding, okay, buddy, 2 hours into the fucking broadcast. That's awesome.
Houthis attack a city just across the border in Saudi Arabia, killing 2 and taking hostages, forcing an airport to shut down. The Crown Prince doesn't take being attacked on his own soil lightly, especially by Iran's proxies. So over the next 24 hours, the Saudis launch 130 airstrikes in Yemen, hitting homes, schools, and hospitals. Thousands are forced to flee from their home. Hundreds are reported dead, though we'll never...
Bro, this is literally... Yo. Johnny's literally doing like Israel style propaganda, but this time for Saudi Arabia, which I think is cool. Like, at least it's a unique perspective. It's refreshing to hear it. He's defeating the Islamophobia allegations pretty aggressively, in my opinion. you could verbatim repeat exactly the same things he said without changing much of the words. Like, substitute Houthi for Hamas, not even change all that many letters, and substitute Saudi for Israel. Keep Iran the same in the equation, and you literally have 1-to-1 why Israel must do ethnic cleansing in Gaza. Straight up. But yeah, once again, I want to cherish Johnny Boy here. My man is so pro-Islam. He's pro-Saudi government. I respect it. It's cool. What is it? The fuck? Uh-oh. Fix it. The fuck? Uh-oh. Fix it. Was my picture more clear back then? No.
Never know the real death toll. These strikes are almost immediately called war crimes, but the Crown Prince doesn't back down. His coalition then sends in ground troops from the south, pushing back the Houthis and taking back the city of Aden. He's behaving as if he's fighting his greatest enemy, Iran. It's a vicious cycle that is common in proxy wars like this, and it lands the people of Yemen in the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. The international community tries to intervene with diplomatic efforts to stop the fighting, but over the next 6 years, those efforts would fail, and Saudi Arabia would continue its brutal campaign, all using American weapons. The Houthis continue to fight to show that they are.
The international community was like, oh, please stop it. Also, here's billions of dollars of weapons, but please stop it. Guys, we can't stop it. We can't. We want to stop it. We just simply can't. Guys, our fucking hands are tied. This is why you must understand why we offer unconditional support to Israel. Because we offered unconditional support to Saudi Arabia. Okay? This is why I laugh when motherfuckers say, Hasan, don't you think that Jews control American politics? It's like, yeah, dude, so does Islam, I guess. Hasan, don't you think that Islam controls American politics? After all, Saudi Arabia's genocidal campaign was not put an end to under identical terms until a power player came to actually play power. China. China stopped this shit, not America. Don't forget that. Yeah. Perhaps it is not Islamo-Judaism that controls the media or America, and simply American foreign interests, American State Department, American capitalism, American imperialism. I don't know. Or maybe it's actually Islamo-Judaism. Now, to be fair, the American government also not Islamophobic. Look at, after all, they did the same level of care and consideration for Saudi Arabia's ethnic cleansing operations as they are giving the same care and consideration to Israel. Just saying. Of course, the victims are always Muslim, whether it is ISIS, the Saudi government, or Israel conducting its operations. It's always the Muslims that are getting fucking ethnically cleansed and displaced by the millions. Fuck it, even the Turkish government in the northern Syrian corridor. It's always the Muslims.
They are legitimate, that they are the government of Yemen. They aren't just doing Iran's bidding.